Hello there, everybody. Apologies to everybody who was in the previous hangout the actual scheduled one. For some reason, I was having trouble getting any audio to work on the thing, but it's working now. I can see my audio levels actually on and doing stuff, which is what it's supposed to do. Fuck you, Google. Um, although I presume people who were in that probably aren't necessarily going to be in here straight away, but I'll leave this apology bit in the copy of this video on this channel. But when I upload it to my main channel, I'll cut this bit out because this is extraneous fucking nonsense. Anyway, hello there, everybody. I should probably start with hello, really, shouldn't I? Anyway, today I'm not really bringing you uh, what's the fucking word I'm looking for? Like a subject or a topic, an issue. Issue, that's the word I'm looking for. An issue, or I'm not doing ponage or anything. I'm basically doing the kind of the boring shit you might get before a video on a book review or a video review or a movie review. The extraneous, explanatory shit. Because I'm going to be doing a new series called, as the title to this would suggest, A Feminazi Reads. Now, the title of Feminazi Reads is a joke. Okay, I'm not saying that I accept the accuracy or whatever of the phrase or the word feminazi. It's a joke. I'm saying I'm a feminazi because it's such a ludicrous moniker for people who care about equal rights and shit like that. If I keep looking up, I just to make sure that the volume's working because I basically got about 2 or 3 minutes into my previous one and before I realised that the volume wasn't working. Anyway, yes, so the Feminazi reads. Basically, I'm going to be doing a look at books from dickheads in the manosphere from my feminist perspective. Now, you might think to yourself that sounds an awful lot like Steve Shives' series, An Atheist Reads, and you'd be right. It is. It's exactly the fucking same. That's why it sounds the same because it basically is the same format anyway. Um, I've totally ripped off Shiveth's bit, um, and unashamedly so. But the difference being, his production values are way better, and he's a much more engaging and nice person. And whereas he does Christian apologetics, well, not just Christian apologetics, he's now doing. He's moved on to sort of Islam to a degree, although it's Islam written by Christians, or a book about Islam written by Christians. Basically, he does religious apologetics, right? Whereas I'm going to be doing rape apologetics in essence. Yay. That's going to be fun, isn't it? Basically, I'm going to be doing my usual sort of shtick, taking on the same sorts of people that I usually take on, but reading their books and critiquing them from a feminist perspective. Again, it's not meant to be, as with Shives' series, it's not meant to be like the definitive um, sort of feminist perspective on anything. It's just my personal take on it. Now, the first book I'm going to be doing in this series, apologies for a second, um, is there's a sort of roundabout story as to how I got to deciding the particular book I'm going to be doing. Firstly, as with my Descent of Manosphere series, I wanted to start with Rougevey because he's sort of one of the king daddy turds in the toilet bowl that is the Manosphere. He really is one of the most repugnant human beings ever, and that's sort of that's the sort of shit I cover. He's one of the key cogs in my wheelhouse, so to speak. He plays absolutely. He's the kind of archetypal person I like to sort of go after because he's such an evil prick. So I wanted to start with that. And by the way, with my Descent of Manosphere series, I'm absolutely all ears to any suggestions for books that you think might be good for me to cover, and so on and so forth. Um, so yeah, if you want to do that, that'd be yeah, all input greatly received. Yeah, so I wanted to do a Rouge book. Now there were two I had in mind. One was his first ever book, which is called Bang, which is the start of his Bang series. Now Bang refers to essentially making aggressive love to women. That's the thing. And I wanted to do that book, or that book appealed to me for this series because it was sort of one of the foundational documents, if you will, of the Manosphere, really. Um, Written a few years ago, and it's like it's sort of cited by a number of wankers as their as their sort of one of the holy scriptures, as it were. And the other one I was looking to do was 30 Bangs, which is again part of the Bang series, but um, it's essentially a sort of the rapist's Bible in essence. Awful stuff that I read in bits anyway about that series. About that book, I should say. Whereas, what I've actually done is I've not gone for either of those books, because what I basically did was I asked my brother to download me a copy of it, because I didn't really want to give Roosh any money, because fuck Roosh, really, prick. But I didn't. And by the way, it's perfectly 100% legal. Absolutely, like I would never engage in that kind of nefarious illegal downloading practices. Obviously, I'm such a good Catholic boy. No, sorry, is that me speaking 20 years ago? I don't know. Anyway, so I got a hold of the e-reader copy, a downloaded copy of that, perfectly legally, 100% legally, honest. And I'll be reading. Oh, sorry, yeah, I asked him to download me a copy of Bang Ukraine, which is part of his Bang series, where he basically goes around the world telling men how best to rape and get away with it, and sexually assault and get away with it. So yeah, that's the one I'll be reading for anyone who, for whatever reason, wanted to read along. Like I don't know anyone in their right mind who would want to necessarily, but if you wanted to, that's the one I'll be doing. Now, this whole series came about as part of as a result of a conversation I had with a member of the Manosphere, one of the good ones, and there are some amongst all of the legitimate criticism / rape and death threats. Although, frankly, those two things seem to be the same in the Manosphere, apparently. Amongst all of that shite is a lot of, certainly some decent human beings, and one such character who I talk to, occasionally in private conversations, asked me, because a couple of weeks ago or last week, whatever, I made a few videos about Roosh, because he's sort of been in the news recently, and we were discussing that, and he said, because I'd come out and criticised stuff that Roosh had written in the past, he said, "Have you ever actually read a Roosh the book?" And he wasn't even saying that as like a criticism; he was just asking a question. Because I had to be honest with him and say no. I'd read lots of sort of snippets and excerpts and stuff, and several bits that are kind of whole passages of stuff, and I've read a lot of his articles and things, but I'd never actually read from cover to cover a Roosh V book, which made me think, okay, maybe I should actually dig into into one of these books and see what it's all about. And then I thought, entrepreneur that I am, I'll nick Steve Shives' idea and do it, but for feminist stuff or anti-feminist stuff, or, rape apologetics. That'll be fun. But frankly, as unfun as it sounds, if you're subscribed to my channel, you probably will find it fun, because it's sort of, like I say, it's a slightly different take on stuff I've been doing previously. So I think you'll probably enjoy it to a degree. Although it'll be less about pwnage, although frankly, where it needs to be pwned, I will be doing so, and more about sort of critiquing and actually going through his stuff. Now, I've had a brief. Oh, I say brief. I read through the first chapter, and there are only 5 chapters in this book, so I'll be doing one a week, not on a set day each week, because schedules dictate, But I'll be doing hopefully one each week on each of the 5 chapters, and that'll be the first book done. And I don't know when I'll do a second book, but when I do, again, it'll be I'll try and do it once a week, a la Shives. But yeah, I read the first chapter, and it's a fucking doozy, this one. There isn't really a semblance of like an argument as such in the book. It's essentially he's doing a faux travel guide for Ukraine, although this is pre the Russian invasion and the annexation of Crimea and all of that. But even so, it's essentially a travel guide, or he's pretending it's a travel guide. But essentially, it's a rape manual dressed up as a travel guide, and not just that, but it's incredibly racist in it as well. He's really, really peculiar. I don't want to give away too much, because that's sort of what I'll be doing in the series, but it's God Almighty. So I'll read through that first chapter properly again. Like I read through it, but I didn't like make any notes or anything. So I'll read through that again and make notes, and hopefully some point next week, the first video will be up on this in this series, and I'll do, like I say, one chapter each week for 5 weeks, and that'll be the first book done. And it should be quite fun, I think. Actually, I don't know that it'll necessarily be my best work because, like I said, I haven't even made notes and stuff yet. But the material itself, and this isn't really even one of the sort of key cornerstone works of Rouge V. But like I say, I sort of asked my brother to do it at random, and he just randomly went with Bang Ukraine. Presumably, he went onto the downloading site and just went, "Oh, Kev's such a prick. I'll just choose the first one on the list because I can't be bothered." Because that's fair enough, I suppose. Anyway, so yeah, I'll be doing Bang Ukraine from my. I won't actually be doing Bang Ukraine. I'll be reading and explaining and critiquing Bang Ukraine by Rouge V. And also, I quite like the subtitle, which is How to Bang Ukrainian Women in Ukraine, which I quite like the fact that he's essentially geographically limited himself there to just Ukrainian women in Ukraine. Not like, it isn't any helpful tips for what about if there are Ukrainian women who live in your country? It's like, no, it's just Ukrainian women in Ukraine, which is fucking dumb. Although I suppose that's where most Ukrainian women live, but you get the idea. Yeah, so that's my sort of the long and short of what I'll be doing in that series, and I hope you all can join me for that. Hang on a second, what am I doing? Right, yeah, I'll say pip pip, and then I'll cut the video there on my main when I upload this shit to my main channel. Yeah, so I'm more than happy to sort of stay and chat. Is there anyone in the comments or in the chat room? I kind of love the title. The concept is solid. I hope it is going to be executed despite shit production values. Ah, my fucking camera's gone mental. What the fuck? Oh, God, where am I? There I am. Hello. Yeah, hopefully it will be. Hopefully I'll be able to. Yeah, I like the title too. Thank you, James Davey. Oh. Professor Platypus is in. Hello there. Yeah, hopefully it will be executed properly, even though it'll be a shit production value. Basically, it'll be this production value. I'm planning to do it in this room with this backdrop and this slightly shite lighting. Although I might set the lighting up slightly better because it will be a set piece thing rather than just a live hangout type video. Yeah, and it'll be that basically. So when are you planning on releasing the first? It'll be sometime next week. So it's Sunday today, so hopefully it'll be out maybe sort of Wednesday, possibly. Yeah, somewhere around then. And like I say, it won't be on set days every week, like Shives does with his An Atheist Reads series, because he's much more professional and good at what he does than I am. Yeah, so that'll. But hopefully it'll be my own little thing. Like it'll be. I mean, I'm sort of joking about stealing his idea because essentially of all people who do movie reviews or film reviews or movie and film means the same fucking thing, doesn't it? Anyway, people who do those kind of reviews and stuff, it's not necessarily anyone's individual idea. The idea of critiquing stuff is it's not anyone's particular idea. But hopefully I'll be able to bring my own sort of flavour to the thing. It won't be, like I say, it won't be great production values because I don't do this professionally. I've got the equipment that I've got, and I've got the presentational style that I've got. So anyway, will you do his book 30 bangs? Yes, I will. I don't know if Alicia Hector. Hello there, Alicia. I don't know if you were around previously, but I explained that I was sort of tossing and turning between doing either 30 bangs or Bang, the original of the Bang series. But I went for this one because essentially I just went to my brother, download whichever one, just at random, and he went with this one. because I genuinely couldn't decide, and I thought, well, I don't want to just like toss a coin or anything. I'll leave it up randomly and then just do it from there. So there's no element of like, oh, he chose this specific one because blah blah blah. Fuck production values. Content is what matters. Absolutely. Unfortunately, I can't really give you much in either department, but I'll see what I can do. Rouge V racist, you don't say. Yeah, yeah, he is. But oh, no, I'm going to save it. I'm going to save it for the thing. But it's a peculiar sort of racism, because he's not. The thing is, he lives in a predominantly white country, and appealing to racism in that country means you're essentially shitting on yourself. It's very strange. Do that one next. Yeah, I might do 30 bangs next. I might do. But I don't want this to just be a Feminazi reads just Rouge V books. But yeah, I can do. I don't mind doing 2 or 3 in a row from one author, because I mean it's not as if the fucking intellectual colossi of the manosphere are particularly replete in terms of their publishing books and stuff. Like I want to quite do what was it called? We walk these roads, whatever it's called, the fucking Davis Orini book, which although isn't like explicitly a manospherian book, it's by a manospherian, and it's probably awful. So I might look into that one as well. Oh shit! But what if you run into a Russian woman in Ukraine? I need answers. Well, actually, he sort of gives you answers. I mean, they're not pleasant answers or ideal answers or even humane answers, but they're answers, and we'll get to that. Actually, in the first chapter as well, his explanation of things. Again, I don't want to give away too much, but his explanation of Ukraine as a country is really spectacularly just so shitty. It's as shitty as you would expect from a person as disgusting as Rouge V. I'll put it that way. I mean, he really is. He's a fucking scumbag. Just on every level, he's just a really loathsome, detestable character. As I've said with a few people from the Manosphere, it genuinely annoys me that I'm part of the same species. That like it's potentially within my DNA that kind of behaviour is possible, and that's scary. But anyway, as there are not many people in the chat, I hope you don't mind people in the chat bit. I'm gonna fuck off now. But like I say, I'm gonna when I put it up on my channel, I'll put the main explaining bit, because that's the point I wanted to make. To get all this shit out of the way, because it's extraneous stuff, and it's like when you actually read a book, you've got like the introduction and the acknowledgements and the preface and the forward and all that shit, and you think, oh fuck off. Like, I just want to read the actual book. So this is basically the boring shit before you actually get into what is hopefully something good. So yeah, feel free to feel absolutely done today from this video, because this is the shit video. Although to be honest, I don't really want to big up the other videos because I don't know how they're going to turn out just yet. We'll see. Yes, the Amazing Atheist has written a book. Actually, he's written several, I think. His main one is the Douchebag Bible, which sounds amazing. By which I mean shit. And if his standard of English written is as poor as it is spoken, I can only imagine it will feature in this series, because that sounds perfect fodder for this kind of series, to be honest. But anyway, as I said, I'm now going to fuck off. Thank you all for listening. Pip pip. And watching, I suppose. I should have said watching. Never mind. Pip pip.